he hasn't seen in a while. And I started talking about psychedelics, and I was like, oh, I like know a lot. And it's like, oh, she was fat. She was like eating up every word I said. And I was like, oh, there's so many people who don't even know about them or think about them. And it's something I feel really alive about.
Yeah. Amen, sister. Amen, Maria. No,
and
that's...
we share that. And so it's like,
We do
why
share
wouldn't
that.
we talk about...
We do share
We
that.
do share that.
No, yeah. I love that moment, too, because I think I also, like, have normalized my psychedelic use.
Yeah.
Or my
Yeah.
experiences. I'm just kind of like... That's a regular fabric of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, until I'm reminded of, like, oh, okay. That's, like, a vast amount of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do share that.
We do share that.
It's what we've shared. I mean, you
Yeah.
invited me to ayahuasca,
Yeah.
of all people.
And just this week, you invited me to Rape, which is a whole experience that we could talk about.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca would be like 15 podcasts.
20.
27.
Yeah. Hape rape.
Hape.
Put it in my nostril. Do you remember that song? Hape rape. Put it in my nostril.
That's a real song?
I think like Sean, Robert, and Ben,
Oh,
we would sing
okay.
that.
Oh,
Hape rape. Put it in my nostril. But it's nostril.
nostril. Gotta make it hip.
Yeah, hape rape.
What is Hape for the people
Hape...
who don't know?
Hape is a Amazon. It's like plant medicine, let's call it that, from different tribes within the Amazon region. And each like kind of hape or rape is like specific to a village or a tribe. That's a recipe that's been passed down for really like thousands of years. I think we know that. And they'll take tobacco.
Tobacco's like the main substance in
Tobacco
it, right?
can be the main like active ingredient, I guess we could call it that.
Okay.
However, there's a lot of hape rapes that don't have tobacco,
Okay.
which makes me think that hape is like so essentially it's snuff. It's like really fine powdered, let's just call it tobacco or plants or ash that gets blown up your nostrils.
Yeah. So beautiful.
It's such a beautiful experience. And there's usually like a hollowed out piece of wood where the powder goes onto one side, and then the other side someone is blowing through this wooden straw to administer it up someone's nose. And so hape seems like the vessel or like the format to deliver whatever medicine or plant they want. Because there's the Io one, which I guess is like the vine of ayahuasca ground up into a powder.
I would imagine mixed with something else, right?
Yeah, I think it's different tree ashes, and I'm assuming that the tree ash is for maybe like for sinuses to kind of like hit those regions, whether to maybe like cleanse them, because tree ash is for like used a lot for like cleaning, like antiseptic stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So I guess it's like, are they packing in like multi-use things in there?
Yeah,
where
different purposes
different,
for
yeah.
Which is that like space of very fine-tuned intelligence of like what each plant does for and with the body. That's been going on for thousands of years. So we're just like in the moment of like discovering that over the past years for ourselves. So often I go like experience first and then I research, which I would imagine is you, or
Yeah. Yes.
Like I have
Yup.
friends in my life that have been researching psychedelics for like probably 5 years. Like all the podcasts, all the, literature, all the research. And I'm more of like an experiential learner,
Same.
curiosity, like dive in. And
Yeah.
then afterwards I'm like, oh my gosh, research is so supporting this. This is what's going on in the brain when this is happening. And so, yeah, but you feel like you're like...
Same. I think I want to put the least amount of information in my head.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do find it like helpful to know some piece of information.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like ayahuasca. When I got called or was feeling called to do ayahuasca back in like 2015, before I really even knew what it was just emerging on like the scene and the like landscape of language within the American culture. And so it was like, I didn't really know what it was, but you kind of knew what it was. And Aya had said to me, or the
I didn't really know what it was, but you kind of knew what it was. What's that?
Yeah.
It's like different types of knowing.
So. Definitely. Well, and I'll differentiate that in two ways. There's one, my personal different way of knowing, and then there was like a cultural.
Okay.
So like in this sort of new age, spiritual, self-help, psychedelic culture back in 2015, which is really hard to even imagine. That was like really microdosing was like just kind of cresting over the horizon. And then this ayahuasca word came up, and it just always carried an aura, or at least back then it carried this aura of like the granddaddy or like the grandma of experiences. And like the big deep jungle, you know, psychedelic.
There's like a deep reverence that I was like, oh, like I knew the bigness of it, where I was like, I am not ready to, like, it felt, I knew the power of it somehow without even knowing anything about it. So it was like, I can't even, like, tiptoe up to it yet.
No, yeah, and I don't know if that was actually communicated through our culture or if it just carried an aura of, like, this is a higher thing. And maybe it's just the simple fact that it was foreign. Like, we've heard about mushrooms, LSD, MDMA, and like ayahuasca was this far off land thing, but it did kind of,
it's a bodily thing for me. Like it is very much like my body was like, oh shit. Be like, if you're like gonna meet the most, like, I don't know, famous or intense person, because it's so that relational feeling. Where you're like, what am I gonna be like, what will happen? I don't know if I can do that yet.
A lot of that feeling. I relate to that. I, at that point, like, hadn't done any psychedelics. I had done psychedelics in my teenage years and then stopped. And so I was like, didn't really imagine I would do them again. And so I always describe it like there was this, like, drum beat within me. And the pace of the drum beat was like once every 3 months. And that was like 2014. And it was this voice, this inner voice that really felt similar to the Holy Spirit when I was in church, was like, you're going to do psychedelics again. And it was just like, in no way, shape, or form could I even see how that was like feasible or possible within my life. So I was like, no way, there's no way. And then the second year, 2015, the drum beat was like maybe once every month. And it was like, you're going to do psychedelics again. And I just was like, what is this wisdom? Where is this guidance coming from? And it was kind of like the drum beat or the pulse of the message was speeding up. So it was definitely like, I need to like get prepared and like, you know, get in shape for it or whatever. But it was ayahuasca was like the primary. It wasn't even mushrooms. It wasn't anything. It was Aya. And the two instructions that I got from this like drumbeat voice or intuition was from Aya. The voice of Aya went like this.
Are you listening closer?
Ayahuasca said, I have 2 rules or conditions that you will
I feel like I'm hearing this first time.
Consume me in. The first one is, do not consume me in the American grid. I was not to take ayahuasca within this matrix of United States of American society. Whether that be like the grid work of the electricity, the grid work of the psyche field, the second instruction or rule was, you have to come to where I grow naturally to consume me. You have to come to my forest. You have to come to my jungle. Oh no, 3. Maria, there was 3 rules. Okay, I forgot. So the third one,
Power of 3.
the power of 3. The third one was, you're not allowed to invite yourself.
There you go.
Yeah, here we go. This is a story. You're not allowed to invite yourself to a ceremony.
Wow.
And so that was 2015. So 2016 I sat, 2017.
Yeah.
And all these ayahuasca opportunities were coming up around Missouri and around the United States. And I'm thinking, geez, I got to be in the land at which it grows, and I have to be in the native forest. I also can't, like, I was invited, and then the American Grid thing. Now, me and you met in Christian church.
Yes.
In 20...
10.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I was off psychedelics. You probably were as well.
Yes.
And we were in a belief system where we weren't supposed to use those.
Yeah.
So it really was just off the table.
Oh,
and
it was super far off the table.
I had left the church in 2013. And like I said, the drumbeat of the call to Io was coming. And I mean, to not even really yet introduce our peyote journey, to just hop over that for now, but the invitation to go to ayahuasca came through you, Maria.
I didn't know any of those 3 ayahuasca rules, or whatever you want to call them. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some part of me did, I guess.
Well, Maria delivered the invitation and the location of the native forest.
Yeah.
And outside of America.
Yeah.
So.
All of it.
Yeah.
And the funny part was, well, I'll go back. I had a invitation from ayahuasca that probably started, I don't even remember when, but it was this beginning. And I remember I was getting I heard some girl's story about going to ayahuasca and all this that happened to her in her life. And I felt this part that was ugh. I can't believe she's talking about it like this. I was so judgy. Which is usually my marker point that says I am feeling that I'm restricting myself from something that I want to enjoy or be free in. So it was my parts that were like, hey, we're ready for ayahuasca. And I had a few parts that were judging that or hindering me from doing that.
No, yeah. And here's the thing about that, though, is that when ayahuasca crested over the horizon of our American realm, it quickly became trending.
That's true.
The thing about this story is that it quickly became trending and then became this marker, this spiritual marker that you could kind of flaunt, or you got a badge, or you got the star.
Yeah, and then it was preached to me. I realized it was delivered this is the answer to all things.
And that was what was bothersome about
really
that encounter with that other person who was kind of coming across, or at least it felt that way.
Yeah. So then I sat with it and had some lovely magical connections that honestly I can't remember, but just these marker points throughout when you have a curiosity about something, and then everything in your world starts aligning with that. So I start talking to my friend in Ecuador who's I've been wanting to do ayahuasca. So the familiarity felt really good to start okay, what would it look like to go down there with someone I know? And then I love inviting people into the things that I love doing. And I sat with myself for a while and listened to who is it that I would want there? And Miles was one of those people. And he was living 3 hours away at the time. So I wrote him a letter.
Yeah.
Which this is a great story. Because your letter got lost in the mail. Do you remember that?
Nope. Several things got lost in the mail when I lived down there, including rape.
So I wrote a letter in play state because that's how I wanted to invite people. There's something fun. I'm going on an adventure. This is what it means to me to have you there. Would you like to come check, yes or no? So I didn't ask you over the phone. I waited for the letter, and the letter never arrived until one day. It was in John's mail or in your car. There was something.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I had this old man who got my mail, and so he would sometimes, put it in different piles, and then sometimes would a month later be like, "Oh yeah, here's your mail stack from a month ago," and so I guess at this point he just tossed it in my car.
Yeah.
So I just get in my car one day and had this handwritten letter from Maria.
Yeah.
Had no idea what the context was or anything.
You thought you were in trouble. It was great.
I did. I thought I was in trouble. I thought I was getting confronted about something, which is like my paranoia.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna have an intervention at any given moment for any given reason. I was like, what's the intervention? Yeah, and that like fear or like, oh no, I'm in trouble, which is just like a programmed feeling, turned into an invitation to go to Ecuador to do ayahuasca. Like, and of all people, it's like from Maria. Like, I've known so many psychedelic people who've been to Costa Rica and all over the globe, and none of them had invited me to the jungle. And so I was like, wow, my like old church friend who we've both left that institution is the one. And then Doopy, the Ecuadorian woman, she also was in the church with you.
Yeah.
So it was just a big movement.
Yes.
Out of Christ and back into Christ.
What did you? I heard out of Christ and back into Christ. What did you say?
Out of Christ and back into Christ.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Different
Best
versions.
ways.
Different versions of relating to
But
God.
that being said, it's fun to like see how timing happens, where it was like, had that letter reached you a month before, what would have been going on in your life? Would it felt like an invitation? What would have? Just, you get to witness all the synchronicities or the things that come together, which I often tell people, like, if you have a seed or a drum beat coming forth with a plant or a psychedelic journey, like, just keep listening, because you'll know the readiness or the feeling, because it has to come within your body, or preferred method is through your body, like following intuition with that.
No, I like this because even for me, it was like I was nowhere near, gonna do psychedelics again or ready to mentally or physically, even conceptually. It just was not in my thought realm. And this like inner voice, like a drum beat in my body, my chest, my heart, was telling me like, this is coming, and the next year the drum beat got more frequent. And I would say like really was the year I first encountered like peyote and then mushrooms. That year it was like every week it was beating. And if I would have like just in 2014 been like, oh, I have this idea and I'm leading myself through this idea to hop on a psychedelic, like there was just everything, in my journey of tuning into my body. Yeah. And in the pace of invitation, and then even getting to sit with that invitation, like, well, here's an invitation, but what are the requirements that feel most in alignment with my choice or my experience with this medicine?
I think we talk about how, like, as soon as the medicine or plant gets introduced into the psyche or the body or the spirit, like, already starts working. So
yep.
The
aura of the plant.
The aura of the plant. The intelligence of the plant, really, I think, is one thing to point out, because it is so relational. So it's like that plant knows what you need, and also like how it wants you to show up too. Like, it's very collaborative. in some intelligent way that it can be explained in some ways but not in others. Like I can understand that, like it's a knowing in my being of like if I would have showed up to ayahuasca, it wouldn't be as mutually enjoyable. I don't know. There's some word there. Something like mutually beneficial. I'm not sure what it is.
You know what? It's so cool that we're talking about this.
It's so cool, isn't it?
It's so cool that we're talking about this. Yeah. And and just even really zooming into like the preparation, as we can sometimes call it, like leading up to a psychedelic ceremony or psychedelic experience. And we're not discussing the like you're at a music festival and you want to take an enhancer, so you take mushrooms. That's not ceremony. Not that it's not ceremony, but it's just a different posture.
Different posture. Posture is very.
It's a different hangout with the medicine, but
yes.
But yeah, like even my readiness or all the parts that need movement within me to fully or be really ready to receive the journey that I'm going to go on with the psychedelic. And I'm not too big on like preparation and like readiness with psychedelics, but
I would say I would insert maybe like formal preparation or
ain't about that formal life.
No. Without putting it on paper.
Not like paper preparation, but like your intuitive like bodily journey. And I guess people are on the fence of doing a psychedelic. It's been like all in culture and society and podcasts and now in the healthcare systems, even THC. And it's really, you have to take that journey with yourself and really tune in to your body's like, what is your body telling you want the parameters to be or the conditions to be? Asking yourself, how do I envision this going? And I think what you're pointing out is like that is actually a collaboration with the medicine.
Yes.
It's actually like the intelligence of the medicine before you even take it, like coming back into your timeline, telling you like, I want to meet you on this land, on these rivers, with these people, and this mood, and this attitude, with this preparation. And we kind of describe it like if you're on your timeline and you have the date that you're actually going to consume the plant medicine, we believe that, so then you consume the plant medicine, and then after your trip or your journey, the medicine keeps working, right? Because you're rearranging different psychic aspects of yourself or bodily aspects, and you are integrating and growing. And then we had this understanding or this revelation or discovered, just how the plant keeps affecting you after, the plant actually starts affecting you before. Because plant medicines and the intelligence of the reality we're in is outside of time.
Yes.
It's not about...
It's outside of linear time.
Yeah, it's not about sequence. And so there's an aura. So like the 2 months leading up to your ceremony, it will already start working on you. Similarly, the 2 months after. And in some cases, 2 years before. And in some cases, 2 years after.
Yeah.
It's the same effects.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of like when I got back from ayahuasca and kind of like, what do I do with this? One aspect of it. And I felt like I was consulting with the spirit of the medicine. Like if I bring more people down there, like, is that appropriate? I don't know. Just like having a conversation. And I felt like the medicine was like, if someone comes to me, I want them fully there. Like it's like the invitation is for you to be fully present. Like all of you is welcome. Like all of you is there. So there's something about, I think the preparation is actually like all forms of you coming together in agreement to be present with yourself first and foremost, but with the medicine. It just feels like a grandma, like show up and like be with me, like a very like yeah, the energy of like, I am worthy of receiving all of you. You're worthy of receiving all of me. So like, be here fully, be present fully, whatever that means, you know. But something about that, the invitation, feels even deeper into the relational aspect of it. And I remember before going, I was like tuning into ayahuasca and all this way in this like, you know, spirit realm or unseen realm. And I was like telling people like, yeah, I feel like I already know ayahuasca. And I feel like ayahuasca said, like, slapped me a little and said, you know me, but you don't know me. And there was an embodied knowing. And that's what I think, that timeline piece, when we take the medicine or it comes into our body form, it's a whole different knowing or relational connection and movement and relating, which goes into the embodiment piece. But what's sparking in your head? I can see your
you've got me really present with the meeting of the plant, and like just that moment of like, there is like you are fully present, you know, when you're about to take a psychedelic. I mean, you may have like some things going on and you might be in some places, but like pretty soon you're going to be like pulled right here in your center. And I just kind of was like feeling into that like extreme. I was like currently contrasting, like I was remembering the extreme presence of those moments, and then I'm contrasting like my life since then of like, wow, there's so many things that you can do and gatherings you can go to and people you can sit with where you still feel like out here and over there, but the extreme presence. And that's a good thing, like, because after doing different psychedelics and, you know, going into it maybe blind with not researching, as we were talking about earlier, and just experiencing, and then coming out of it, and, you know, with my friends and people just going like, what was that? What are we experiencing when we're in there? And like, what is happening? And I feel like I really after years, distilled that it's really the power of presence. Yeah. And actually, like, that's the only thing that's actually occurring on a psychedelic. Like, the main property or the main element of a psychedelic is that it brings you to the most present moment, the most present now. And it's like unpacking all the gifts that are in the now is what a psychedelic is, period. You don't need a psychedelic to get there. Yeah. A psychedelic can and will bring you there. And the magic that you experience on a psychedelic isn't like, this is mushrooms. It's never.
Yeah. It's only showing you it's already there.
It's, Yep. Yeah, a psychedelic, you know, we get caught up in pop culture or whatever, and people want to come back from their journey and see all these things, and it's really great. And again, it's like, this has been repeated a lot lately, but it's like Buddha's like pointing at the moon, and then people like get stuck on his finger pointing rather than what he's pointing at, which is the moon. But I feel like that happens with like psychedelics, is it's like we're looking at the mushroom as the thing, and it's really like, you are the psychedelic, like we are the like magicalness.
We are the psychedelic. We are the magic.
Yeah, and it's most powerfully accessed through the present moment.
Yeah.
The strongest key.
It's most powerfully accessed through the present moment.
The
key.
The key, the doorway, the threshold, the gate. Yeah, glad to get around to that, because I mean, I haven't like really done some psychedelic journeys in a couple years now, so it's like, it's like being away from those studies and those research and kind of forgetting what I discovered. But
yeah,
the present moment, and it's fun to drop in on a psychedelic. Is sometimes we word it like that, like dropping in, and when you drop in, you're like, well, where am I? You're like, what is different about right now versus like not like a minute ago? And then you can look and you can search, and usually what you'll just find is you're like, oh, I'm here.
That
oh, I'm here, and that's what's different.
Yeah, I'm here. We're here. We made it. That's what I felt like as soon as you like slowed down and said, "This is the key." It's like my whole body settled, and I was like, "Oh, we're just here. Like this is it.
Yeah.
This is the magic." That's why we are the psychedelic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, integration really is just maintaining that sense of presence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, integration, like post the psychedelic journey. What did I learn? What was the gifts?
Yeah.
What was the insights? And it's like, sure, there's wisdoms and like fun perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
But in the body, it's mainly like, how do I maintain being present in my body? How do I maintain being present in my life and not like shooting once again away into disassociations or like up into your imagination
and the enjoyment of it, not just the maintaining presence, but like it's like getting to be present on a more consistent basis, but enjoying it. The intensity of it, the ebbs and flows of it. It's really just enjoying being human, and that's hard. Like, that's
I know
hard.
I'm like so resistant to even hearing that. I'm like yeah. No, it is. Yeah. Well, and that gets into like the joy factor.
Yeah.
This gets into the joy factor of like, what is the main gift you are going to open up when you are in the most present moment? In that primary gift is going to be the feeling of joy, which I would say it's really like playful. It's like a play state, as we call it.
Yep.
Play state is like at the core of our existence. It's the core of our reality.
Yeah.
And then what is play state? Play state really is just like joyful creation. Innocence. We're sitting behind the playground, and like it's not the playground, but it's the child. It's that playful state that says we can create any version of play here we want.
Yes.
And it's endless. And in our best psychedelic journeys, you are in play state. You're in your imagination, you're moving around or collaborating with people. But yeah, so when we talk about integration and like this hard, like you gotta maintain it, it's not really that. It's just like the return to this childlike, playful, youthful, energetic, happy to be here, creative way of being. Try maintaining that.
In
election season. Sorry.
You just dropped that in to get like bumped on the
algorithm. Election. How do we be playful in election though? Well, about
you have an idea?
No, well about that, Maria. So we discovered when this sort of new age self-help psychedelic culture was really like a tidal wave across the nation.
Yeah.
Play state was like this huge like placated concept that was going about.
Okay.
And I think several times me and you in different ceremonies in different settings were just kind of like I don't really play. I know, dude. I don't really play like that. And like sitting, I know for me, like on my own journey was sitting with like, dang, bro. Like, are you just so jaded or like can't get into play state? Like, just watching people just get more into their childlike state and it's like, I resonate with grandpa energy. So it's like, maybe I'm just kind of like want to sit on a log in the river kind of like vibe, or whatever. Yeah. But I think it was even like through talking to you and us like comparing
childhood
our experiences. Yeah. And we're like, wait, I always played like really serious games as a child.
Yeah.
There was always like scenarios that were happening or reenacting the Holocaust with my neighborhood friends, which happened. It was like we learned it.
So serious. Yeah.
So serious. We learned it in school, and then like I was like always kind of this like director with my neighborhood friends, and so that was one of the multiple days we played out this like Holocaust experience, and it was so serious and so dramatic and like channeling the feelings
Yeah.
And that was playful. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's such a good way to like expand the dynamics of play as we've like observed our own. I remember in that time I kept tuning into one of my inner children, which we have many inner children, and one of them was always sitting at a desk just like writing notes and like just researching or reading books, and it was just my serious form of play. Like it wasn't nobody was telling her to do that. She wasn't forced to do that. It was like how she liked to play. So we joke now that like there's a lot of forms of us that just like serious play. We like to play serious.
yes, and this goes to the election comment.
Okay.
Is that all y'all need to realize that we're all playing.
Yes.
We are all grown children playing.
We're all playing
This
games.
election is a made-up game.
Yeah.
The whole dynamic of a government, and pay your taxes and take the certificate and go here. This is all a game. It's all made-up play. And
it's very serious play.
it's serious play. However, the psychedelic reminds you
that it's still play.
That it's still play.
In play, like it's helpful to even go further with that. It's like creating an actual play and the script and the characters. So every single person who views the election right now has their own relationship to it. So it's like there's a lens of how you are understanding the script and the characters in the play. So going back to even this whole director or podcaster play. It's one angle to view it. It's an invitation to go, okay, what is the game playing right now and how am I playing in it? How do I want to play in it? Which I think is what psychedelics also brings you to, is like everything is interconnected and I am a part of that, but how do I want to, maybe how was I perceiving it that I no longer want or doesn't work anymore? And how do I want to play and how do I want to perceive? And that's the power of choice that comes with the activation of just power within your body in the present moment.
Yes, power within your body in the present moment. And it's like generating stories, or we sometimes call it programming. You know, there's programming from systems, institutions, and then there's like our personal narrative, our personal dialogues about self-worth, or like what I have the power, capability to do or not to do.
Yeah.
And plant medicine can and does, in its best effectiveness, reveal to you that most things in your mind are malleable and that they're able to change, and that they were either put in there, you know, like a programming. That's why, like, often when you take, you know, the sort of cliche is like taking LSD and your mind melts, right? The programming melts. Which is a beautiful, wonderful thing if part of your goal is to sort of rewrite your story that you're living. And then you get into your personal trauma or your personal dialogue about your trauma or what you're limited by. And the psychedelic says you're actually choosing to believe that limitation. And the power of choice like comes rushing back into your body, and you feel like you can change the channel. You know, with a remote control, you're like, oh, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want to feel depressed. I don't want to feel that. You did. Like, that's a big reconciling, is like,
yeah,
I did want to feel depressed. I did want to feel fearful of the government. I did want to play in that way.
Yeah.
But returning back to choice, it's like, you know, have fun with it then. If you're depressed, have fun with it. And I always have fun with my depression. I don't know what you people are doing with it, but I got diagnosed with depression at 15 in high school, and I was like, I'm going to have fun with this. And I've never tried to, like, medicate it away or boo-hoo it, or I don't even complain about it. It's a fabric of my reality that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, but that was a liberating thing. And we can create a whole system that's, oh, depression is so bad and we need to eradicate it and everyone's suffering from it. And it's like, or just know that you have a choice to be happy or a choice to be sad and be with it, like really be in it. And it used to happen every winter. where I would get depressed. Like, here we go. Here's this poetic, sad song, sad boy season. And
That's a great form of you.
Yeah, yeah, big time sad boy here. And I love every bit of it. And people like always would come at me after you're like, you need to, what's this suppression? It's like, dude, it doesn't need to go anywhere. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
You don't even have a problem with it. Man, but you can really get stuck in stuff, and I'm not saying that I'm not a victim to my own sadness, but I'm not a victim.
Okay, this is the other key. Like you said, malleability, which is really important, and flexibility within the nervous system is another like entry point as well. And that's, I mean, this is the beauty of the research of psychedelics, is like that's actually what's happening in your brain. Is there is flexibility to create new pathways. So it's not just a idea of like, okay, now I'm going to be happy. I'm no longer depressed. I'm only going to be happy now, and I'm going to think happy thoughts. It's like giving you the support to actually rewire your brain. Yep. And so it's why sometimes it just feels like I remember the first psychedelic experience I had, I was like, that was 12 years of therapy in 1 hour. Because you feel the depth of shift in your brain and how the brain, it's not stuck in those routes anymore. Yep. And that's just yummy. That's like really yummy. Right?
It is.
It's so yummy.
Yeah. It feels, a lot like eating cake when you realize that.
What kind of cake?
Oh, man. Well, Tres Leches is what I'm thinking of right now. But German chocolate's my favorite. However,
really? That's my dad's favorite.
Yeah, I like that coconut sort of topping thing.
Yeah, but coconut's great.
Yeah, I think Michael Pollan puts it like when we Pollan. That dude. Thank you.
Yes.
He puts it like a new snowfall. So if you have like a hill that you're sledding down, like in your neighborhood, and all the kids, like you hit that main chute, and there's these deep grooves in our mind, which is like you have new thoughts or a new experience, and it's gonna funnel down to your most like repetitious feeling. So if it's like sad, everything will kind of find its way back to that sad route. And then the psychedelic sort of neurologically, like in the synapses, creates a like new snowfall over that hill. And so like the more snowfall, like a fresh sheet of snow, allows you to move outside of that groove on your sled. You feel very much like, whoa, I like before did not have the movement to like feel happiness. I didn't have the movement to review an insult and actually like find how it's a compliment. Even like that extreme though is like we get very stuck in these trains of thinking, and it's really hard to move, and the psychedelic gives you that mental movement to create new perspectives, neural pathways, to be scientific, like new synapses can rebuild. All the research shows. And so you definitely feel that on a story level. Like it's really fun and scary. It's scary
it's
too.
It's so scary.
No, it's actually scary.
It's actually really scary.
Fuck, it's so frightening.
It's scary.
Shit. It's very scary.
Like even as we talk about it, I can like, as soon as you started mentioning it, my stomach's like turning. Like there's a visceral feeling of
the parasites within that are we're going here. No, no, the people need to know, Maria.
Tell them.
You guys need to know. You guys need to know the truth.
Know the truth.
There are interdimensional parasites that are feeding upon your fear and your depression. Interdimensional parasites. Okay. And
I had to spit because sometimes
she's still got them. and
working one out right now.
Just how there's like anti-worm, anti-parasitic medicines and foods like turpentine. Maria's chills. It's her demons. They're like, oh no, the holy water.
Don't tell the
is
truth
being talked about.
Us.
And so these interdimensional.
I love them.
We do. Of course we do. We're a host. We allow them all up in our homes. Build bedrooms for them. But yeah, they kind of anchor into us through negative thought patterns. And so this idea or this framework is just a way to tell the story. But
Yeah.
These psychedelics have terpenes in them. You know, peyote has a ton of different terpenes. Ayahuasca has terpenes that actually...
This is good. Okay.
It is good.
I knew it was good. I was just trying to
Come on. Bring your higher self forward.
Okay.
What's that Doja song? How Do My Demons Look? Anyways, that's an embracing of your interdimensional parasites, which carry you to this day. Your depression,
Amen.
Your negative self-talk. They got you here today. But parasites balance out body chemistry. So if you eat a lot of sugary foods, you're going to develop parasites to offset the body chemistry. And y'all can Google that. However, we're talking about psychedelics, and so... Terpenes?
Terpenes. Keep going there.
Oh. Well...
How does that impact the body in a physical way with interdimensional parasites?
Yeah. Well...
All dimensions coming together.
All dimensions coming together. So my belief or my understanding, after experiences and talking to a lot of wise people and, you know, research and things like that, is that the unseen realm always is anchoring into the seen realm. So whether we just want to understand that as like our psychic fabric of our thoughts, our perspectives are unseen, anchoring into our body, maybe internalized rejection manifesting as cancer, right? I think it's like kind of a, you know, I'm sure most people have like kind of thought of that concept or heard of that concept that physical illnesses can be birthed through.
Let's say about 50% of the listeners. But that's a big topic. But
learning
yes.
and so there's that. So when we take a psychedelic, a parasite physically in your body, whether it's like worms in your heart or you know, whether it's like black mold in your brain from houses we live in, or parasites in your liver who aren't like allowing you to detox properly. Those things actually are detoxed through some plant medicines because of the antiparasitic properties. So the ancients most likely took these things because, wow, after we ate that mushroom or did that peyote, we feel clear in our mind, we feel lighter in our body. Yeah. We feel freer to move, and that's movement of thought. And ailments too. So Maria was describing like the gut feeling or like this repulsion when you think about ayahuasca, because ayahuasca tastes gnarly. If there's ever such thing as a anti-parasitic medicine, it's definitely because it just tastes, it's so beyond bitter and the like just most intense way. And it's funny to think like you know, a lot of real parasites, physical parasites in the body will keep you away from eating healthy foods. This is like studied and known that parasites can actually control your appetite. So you say, oh, I have a sweet tooth. No, you got a giant tapeworm. Let's get real here. It ain't your sweet tooth. Feed me. Right? Yeah. It's the parasite manipulating. So these parasites also keep you away from bitter foods. And a lot of bitter foods have anti-parasitic properties to them. Dandelion leaf. Like, I dare anybody to try to go munch a dandelion leaf. And if you can't, they will tell you got parasites in you. Because the dandelion leaf is really bitter and good for those things. And so our minds will be scared to do a psychedelic. That fear that most of us are experiencing is the interdimensional parasite in your mind who is like, this thing, if I allow this person to consume this thing, they will expel me from the house. They will rid their body of my depression that I'm creating in your mind so that it can feed upon your depression, or the fear so it can feed upon that fear. And
it's more of like sort of life or death with that. Like it's not like extreme conscious, like, and I'm trying to keep them depressed. Part of it is, but I think what you're getting to is like just the how a parasite relates with a body. It's like, do not expel me, like simply. So it's gonna scream like no.
No, for sure. And I'm definitely using like anecdote and story to describe
and it's
this.
all it all makes sense too.
Yeah, and Maria's kind of pointing out the aspect, which is really important. Maria, third person. She's right here. What's up, Maria?
I'm still here.
So yeah, it's really your own psychological fear of change.
Amen. Change.
It's really our fear of psychedelics.
Yes.
It's really fun to talk about interdimensional parasites. That's why I went there. But
they are also changed.
Yes, they're changed. They're brought to the light.
That's why a lot of people, I mean, that's the purging and the actual tangible. That's why that's where I thought you were going. So just kind of circle that in.
Well, okay.
Okay.
The purging. Yeah, I necessarily can't go there. I'm not too big of a thrower upper in general, in life in general. Yeah. But that's because I just stomach everything for the better or for the worse. But the fear of the psychedelic is the fear of change. And it's not that change is good, and it's not that change is bad. It's just that what we know we're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. And there is a level of bravery and courage that to do a psychedelic requires. Yeah. Or to take a new job, or to move to a new city, or to end an old relationship, or to begin a new relationship. It requires courage. Now, the sort of onset of the frightfulness of a psychedelic is Pandora's box to the universe. I mean, it's like when we were going to do ayahuasca in Ecuador, this ancient medicine that ancient people have done. And, you know, I think Dupi and some people were describing that in that ayahuasca shaman culture, they call it like the university. Like they call it going to the university. Like the real university. Not these colleges that don't teach you nothing, but like the university, you know, the school of the universe. And I've always wanted to go to university. Like, let's get with it. Like, I was disappointed, whatever. So I was like, man, we're going to the university, like the ultimate school of learning. Really exciting. However, the fear for me was like, I don't know what I'm going to discover. Mm-hmm. Like, that explorer part of us where we're like, we want to know more, but that new information is going to now inform our reality. Yeah. And it might change some things. That's kind of... Definitely had that. But mostly excited. Yeah, mostly excited. Because we get bored. We do. I'd say people who eat psychedelics they're just bored. We get bored. And that's fine, but being bored is great. I'm learning to embrace it more, but I have very, like, a lot of parts that are curious explorers. Take me to the ends of the earth and the universe and let me see what it is. Yeah. Feels very human. Yeah. Give me new sights to see. And places to exercise courage. Like that. Wow. Man. Yeah. Right? No, it's a biggie. Yeah. That's what this playground's supposed to be for. Yeah. Like, playgrounds and the earth and the world is like, we need environments to practice our courage. That is really, I think that, I feel like my movement, my body's like, that's the primary motivator for me to enter the psychedelic space is like, I love practicing my courage. I love practicing bravery. Mm-hmm. And, if you create an environment that's too predictable and too comfortable, which is really yummy, and I did that, recently, but... We all flow in and out of that. It's the movement of both. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is the movement of both. Mm-hmm. high exploration. It's great to chat outside.
Yeah, this felt really good. Thank you, trees. Thank you, playground.
Thank you, sunlight.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you, sunlight.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, explorer parts.
Explorer parts.
Brave
University
parts.
parts. Serious play
University,
parts.
serious play.
Silly play parts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Joyful parts, depressed parts.
Mhm.
So hopefully this talk is beneficial.
Was for me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well.
Okay.
Okay, till next time.
Let's take a breath.
Nah.